So we've done the fucking Mad Lions one there. Vitality, I want to do this one next on because this team fucking tortures me. Because when I actually look at it, I do think a bunch of the players have sort of shown themselves to just be dysfunctional players who don't fit together, even in this team. But I'll tell you what, they're like almost good enough that I start to believe in them. But every time I believe in them, some shit like that last series happens, Dom, where it's like, bro, you guys are like trying to lose these games. Like, I know I've been pretty hard on Hylissang, but fuck, this, at the moment, he deserves all the like abuse smear. Like, he actually is just, every game, it's like he's doing that like fucked up trade meme where it's like, I offer you my life in exchange for, fuck, I don't know, nothing. It's like, what? Why is he like, the joke is, I don't even think BDS could have lost that series. Like, they were just constantly being gifted chances to fucking win the game by this guy. Why is he so egregious at the moment, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There has to be some type of game knowledge issue with Hilly. I mean, before you could kind of see one of his ints, like he would int really hard for tempo. So you could kind of view him as a tempo genius where it's like, I mean, he did give 300 gold to the AD carry, but the AD carry like missed a wave, I guess. And like his AD carry got a plate. So like in terms of like the experience and gold, maybe his AD carry benefited more, but now you just watch Hilly walk up and just like lose the game on purpose. Like he's playing Ashe support. The fight is 100% lost. And he's just walking up, autoing them, and then his whole team gets ace and they lose. What could possibly ever go right in these situations? Like the ints that he has are so, I mean, like you say, they're so egregious that there's no way that you can actually defend him anymore. Besides for just being like, well, I guess he's just playing bad this game. Like he has some good games and he has some bad games. It can no longer just be play to play. We analyze it and we try to figure out, was this a good, like, does this play have any like value? It's like, no, the play is objectively horrible. The whole game is fucking lost because he just did this. But like, maybe he'll play good in the future. Maybe he'll have like a good pipe game later on. I mean, I don't know. It's very hard to defend Hylissang because he's been one of my favorite players in Europe. But at this point, he just looks like he is inting on purpose.
Also, I've got to say this. I think we need to just take a quick sort of check, guys, on the historical dipstick of where people are. Because you know how a few years back, Tom, sadly, it was like 3 or 4 years now, you know, there was that great convo you could have. Who is the Western GOAT? Is it Perks? Is it Caps? And you could do the back and forth. Like I could build a case around captaincy and stuff for Perks and, you know, macro moves. And then maybe on Caps, you talk about mechanics and the ballsy playmaking. But you know how the problem with that convo is? I mean, the Perks part of it sailed, hasn't it? Like Caps just keeps going and then Perks hasn't been that good for a while. So unfortunately, if you do that argument, even if like me, you had the Perks side, you'd have to just give it up now. It's obviously Caps, isn't it? Dude, you know that whole thing where it was supposed to be like Hylissang and Mickey X are like in a neck to neck, but that fucking ended years ago, guys. That was like, I agreed. I even used to, by the way, low key be on the Hylissang side. I used to think he even seems like he's more influential. Bro, you know what? The flaw of Mickey X's game, I apologize, Mickey X. You were never Hylissang. Like you might have had splits where it was a bit harder. You didn't get the champion going. You have never done anything like the splits I have seen this motherfucker turn in. Like this guy, you might in one game, this guy's in the whole series. And he even has that crazy look in his face where like in Mad Lions, they used to just laugh it off like, haha. But he has that look where it's like, I'll get the best analogy I can give you is this, Tom. You know, if you have like a pet, like a dog or a cat, and you tell it not to do something, like a cat famously, you know, when they tip like the cop off the shelf, you know, that second where you're telling it not to, but you can see in its eyes, oh, it's just going to do it. Like he has that look in his eye every time he has these int games. Like, oh, he's ruthless. He'll go back in and do that again, mate. Like, and so the problem I also think as well is, I will say this, Mac was his coach before, and I can tell you their approach with Hylissang isn't sort of like hands-on, like don't do this, don't do that. They do sort of like try and let him figure it out. So I know how that resolves itself, quite frankly. I think he's just getting his shit together. It's also probably one of the worst metas for him because even when there are like the blitzcrank or whatever, like I wouldn't fucking trust him on it now, mate. How can I draft that for him? He'll just fucking blow the game.
Yeah.
He'll probably like pull someone into us and get us killed or something.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, the Pike game was a game where I was like, all right, like, fuck the Ashe bullshit that he's been playing. That's not a Hylissang champion. You never actually expect him to be a great Ashe player. I mean, he's okay in lane and then he just runs it down later on. But Pike, like, this is the famous Hylissang Pike game. I can't wait to see. Oh my God, he entered the whole fucking game on purpose again. Like, there was no way you could watch that game and not just be mad at Hylissang afterwards. Like, it made me, like, when I was done with that game, I'm like, please, man, please turn it off. Please just, go back to play, like, play Nautilus or something. So at least when you int, it's like, well, everyone kind of ints on Nautilus. I mean, the Pike game, there was a time where at level 4, he tried to solo kill the enemy AD carry, and he misestimated it by a solid 500, 600 health. Like there was no way that he could have ever won the situation. Like he would literally have to just have his ult and ignite and like an extra fucking serrated Dirk to even have a chance of winning that 1v1. So some of the plays he makes, like you just can't defend it.
Go back and watch the play Dom's talking about. And I swear to you, because everyone knows I've played a bazillion Pike games. It's one of those ones where, mate, you even know when you first go in, like, yeah, I've completely miscalculated this. So like, you should, if you're not in solo queue, just leave at that point in time. You know what I mean? You don't have to die. Like you can leave. But he's just like going all in anyway. Like, I know what you mean. He never could have got that kill. It wasn't even on the cards. Like essentially, I even think if that guy completely misplayed, I don't think you kill him, mate. I don't think the kill pressure was there.
No, there's no point he could ever kill him, especially when you play Pyke with like Hail of Blades. Like you're a burst champion essentially. Like if you don't kill them in the burst, you're not sitting there and trading autos with your 50 damage auto attack and actually winning the fucking fight.
Yes,
so
true.
It was crazy to watch. And then there was like the plays later on where he's just running it down in the game. But yeah, it's tough to watch Hilly because I just feel like it's so hard to not think that he's just completely washed at this point. Like every time, like I really don't like calling players washed because I feel like there's a sense of finality to the term washed where it's like he'll never be good again. That's what essentially washed means to me. But it's so hard for me to imagine Hilly being a top support in EU again. I just can't. I'll give you an angle. I don't see what would have
I've got an angle I want to present to you because I also think, sadly, now that I've seen how the team plays, in hindsight, this isn't that great a roster in terms of composition, Dom. Because if I think about what Hylissang had last year, when I'm supposed to believe he had a renaissance, right? He had Niski and then he had El Yoya as his jungle guys. Like you almost couldn't ask for better players if you're Hylissang there, right? Surely like fucking El Yoya is like one of the best junglers you could probably ever work with, by the way. And then Niski is like a fucking dream mid laner. Seems like he's supportive, roam the map. Like the ones you have now is you have Douglas, who is a rookie, and then you have Vethio, who's like the joke of Vethio I keep making to people is this. I actually was sort of wrong. He isn't a star on the level I thought because he isn't self-sufficient. He can't do it himself. He needs someone else to enable him and then he can carry a game. So the joke is he's basically like the fucking mid lane version of BDS. Like he's not actually that amazing a fucking just raw mid laner. But if you get him to the team fight, he'll fucking do an awesome job. So if you think about it, I also don't think you've got the personnel. Like who's like Hylissang connecting with there? By the way, the Douglas guy just looks like he's putting out fires all day long. Like that guy's in nightmare fuel mode as a jungler, surely.
Yeah, I mean, he's also just probably the worst jungler in the league, in my estimation.
I don't get it. Like, I thought he was supposed to be hyped or something. Like, surely there's other people we could have had than this.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't like the way that he plays because I feel like, in general, he just misses so many timings. Like, as a jungler, for me, since, I mean, obviously that's the role that I played, I'm really looking at, like, okay, there's a timing where you should be, like, around a lane. Are you there? And it feels like Douglas is just never there on correct timings. And he doesn't really, like, push his lead. I don't think he has a good game sense for understanding how he needs to win a game as a jungler, like what needs to happen. And I think that just puts the team like in pretty bad situations. Like, look, also, if you're playing with Hylissang, you probably have to just over prioritize bot. Like Photon and Vetio are probably going to be able to escape some ganks. They're going to be okay doing their own thing, laning 1v1. You need to just be around Hilly because, I mean, Hilly will hit some spells. Like he'll make a situation playable, but if you're not there, he's just going to fucking run it down a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean, the main thing about Vitality, I think that they're kind of like the opposite of Mad Lions, where the worst players on the team are actually support and jungle, which is like a whole different problem. Yes. Where like you could win games because support and jungle are just like, I guess, like weaker roles in competitive, but it's so hard to connect these like winning lanes together because there's like the jungler is not diving on the correct timing. Hilly's like not moving with the jungler and actually like making action on the map. So it just feels really bad to play because it feels like everyone is just getting strong in their own right, but there's no way for them to actually force that onto the enemy, which is really, I think, probably the weakest part of Europe right now is watching games in general. It feels like everyone's kind of playing their own game. Top laners playing top, mid laners playing mid, bot laners are playing bot. There's no like, we are playing towards bot side as a unit. So like top lane is saving his TP, getting ready to go bot. Like mid lane is ready to drop a wave, ready to go bot. Like the jungler is hovering on the correct timers. Like it just feels like there is just no synergy between lanes right now. And the thing that I would say about Vetio is the more that I've watched him, I guess the main criticism that I have is I feel like he's not willing to ever sacrifice himself for something that needs to happen to be able to win a game. I think there's times where as a mid laner, you have to be willing to be like, hey, this game is fucked. And this is probably Niski's like best trait as a player. If the game looks like it's going to be fucked, you have to be like, hey, if I like have perfect CS or I catch these extra 2 waves or I base and I have like a small like HP lead on the mid laner, that will not affect this game at all. I need to make something happen on the map right now or we're going to lose. And I feel like Vetio just never takes those opportunities. There's not a point where I see him like doing something that is low, like probably a lower percentage chance of working out, but it's the only way you win. It feels like he's so willing to be like, yeah, I had like perfect CS. I did my job perfectly, but we ended up losing.
Yes. He's not willing to flip the game. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I
Definitely
think that's
conservative in that sense. It's obvious, yeah.
And that's another thing that I think Caps is really good at as well. Like when you watch Caps play with G2, G2 has some pretty sketchy games where Caps realizes, like, I gotta fucking put the team on my back. It doesn't matter if I'm playing a champion that's not a good roam champion or something. If I'm playing Quay and the game looks like ugly, I gotta fucking move. I gotta make something happen right now, or the game will just be too far lost by the time I hit my big items.
Indeed. Basically, they should just get Vethio, and when he's practicing, they should put headphones on him with that classic mystical song. Move, bitch! Get out the way! Get out.
Wait, that's a ludicrous song.
Nah, I'm pretty sure that was mystical.
Wait, really? Move, bitch?
You can look it up. Here's the thing, Dom. I know you and your big crit might think you know the rap game, but some of us are actual OGs in the game.
No, it's ludicrous. Move, bitch, get out the way. It's ludicrous. Yeah.
What am I thinking of? Oh, wait a second. What am I
Watch
thinking
yourself.
of? Oh, that's a very similar song. You are right.
Yeah.
You're right, actually. Yeah, I've mixed the two together. You're right, actually. Yeah, well done.
Okay, all right.
Whatever. They're both good songs, though. He should also watch himself also, because then he realizes problems that he's moving enough. So there's a playlist. We've actually got you 2 songs there, Vetio. Put that on. And then there's the third song, just because no one in France knows it. I don't know, maybe put on Tupac, Hit 'Em Up, you fucking plebs. You utter plebs. You don't even... By the way, I'll just say the same thing I said to Monty. You'd think the giveaway, Dom, would be why I intentionally left that part of the lyrics that just goes, take money at the end. Like, why would I just put that in parentheses at the end of like a diss to fucking Kameto or whatever? Like, it doesn't even make sense, you idiot.
It's one of those things, man. Like, I feel like just dealing with LEC in general has been so, like, it's by far my least favorite region to deal with fans in right now. Like, it just seems like you tweet anything like that's like just a completely valid claim, and it's like, he hates French people, he hates Spanish people. It's like, shut up, you bitch. Like, it's like, what the fuck are we even doing, man? It's like dealing with European fans this year has been just a fucking nightmare for me as a content creator. You can't tweet anything negative about Mad Lions, K Corp, even BDS without just getting like a billion. And it's not even like people will insult you and try to actually like go at your point at all. They just try to personally insult you. Like, that's the thing I've noticed about French and Spanish fans is they just only care about personal insults. They don't care at all about like what you were actually saying.
No, they don't. I mean, the joke is like, they basically, even if they actually saw you had a valid point, they would just go, you aren't allowed to say that because you aren't French or Spanish. It's like, oh, brilliant. Well, it's a nice standard we've set here at least. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.